over whether he's guilty. It's emotional.
There were tears that ran down my face, but I did not cry.
It's inflammatory.
The last pureblood on the planet before I inject myself with poison.
You're not making an MGM trailer, and it's uncensored.
Any woman I love does not have to work unless she decides.
Fine. Her job is to work out for your benefit, blah, 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 blah. Andrew, it's been, nearly a year since we last sat down together. Very different time. It was in my London studio, and 8 days after that, you got arrested. What's the year been like for you?
It's certainly been an interesting one. I've been constrained this entire year. I spent 93 days in a Romanian dungeon, 5 months locked in my house, and now I'm restrained within the country of Romania. So it's certainly been a turbulent time.
The moment you got arrested, it was all pretty dramatic. The video came out, the world saw it, a lot of people smashing into your home. Did you have any inkling, warning that something like this may happen?
I knew it. I kept saying before I was arrested on every single podcast I did, I said, you get 3 lives in the world. The first life, they're going to cancel you. They're going to slander you. They're going to delete your access to social media so you can't defend yourself. The second life, they're going to try and put you in jail for no reason. And if you continue to speak against the power, they're going to assassinate you. I knew I was on my second life. I kept saying it. I knew it was coming. I didn't know the bullshit reason they'd use, but I found out once I was in a cell.
When you were arrested, you don't speak any Romanian at
Zero.
all. And they didn't speak English to you.
Correct.
So you were taken to a cell. You had no idea what they were alleging you'd done.
I was arrested on the 27th of December, so because of Christmas and New Year's and other problems, they couldn't even translate my paperwork for 2 weeks. So for the first 2 weeks I was in a prison cell, I had no idea why. I was given papers in Romanian. I could read human trafficking, I understood, but I was like, human trafficking who, when, what? None of this makes sense. I waited 2 entire weeks inside of my cell before I was given an English translation, and then I realized exactly how ridiculous the whole case was. Just to clarify, I am accused of helping my friends get big on TikTok. That is what I'm accused of. I told some girls I know how to post on TikTok to become viral when I was at the time the most viral person on the planet. And they are saying I'm a human trafficker for that reason. It is insane.
Wow.
You in jail.
Interesting.
Romanian jail is not English jail.
Describe it. What was the cell like?
I have to be careful what I say because I don't want to insult the Romanian justice system, which I'm still beholden to. However, it's exactly as bad as people would expect it to be. Luckily, it was in the winter, so the cockroaches were not too bad. It was also during Ramadan, so I didn't have to eat so much, which was helpful because of the situation. I think the most stressful thing about it is I had no idea how long I was going to be in there for. I was dragged from my house. I was given papers in Romanian. I didn't know why I was there. I found out why I was there, and it was garbage. I couldn't seem to get out. I could have been held for years. It's very stressful. And the best thing you can do is turn to God and train as hard as possible. I did thousands of push-ups a day every single day.
Were you in solitary in this period? 3 months?
No, I wasn't in solitary the entire time. Sometimes I was by myself. Sometimes I was with other guys, and sometimes I was with my brother. So
when you were on your own, were they keeping you in there for 24 hours a day? Were you allowed out?
No, I wasn't allowed out. There was no yard time. It was 24 hours a day, locked in a
he was locked
room,
up,
probably
boy.
3 or 4 steps large, and you do nothing but stare at the wall. And you.
How many days did you do that for, on your own?
11, 12.
Chat, what's up, by the way?
pretty
Sorry, I literally just started and we're watching this. I was so late, man.
For anyone.
Hope everyone's
Life
good
script.
though, chat.
Did you get emotional? Did you shed tears in yourself?
I wonder how long this is going to
I'm
be.
an emotional man. I think men are hyper emotional. We just have to control it. I was extremely busy inside of my jail cell. I had lots of push-ups to do. I was very concerned about the people on the outside. I was trying my best to get out. It's difficult for me to answer the question because it was an interesting frame of mind. I knew that God was watching and I had to perform. It's very difficult for me to go through life saying I'm the top G, I'm this, I'm that, and speak about mental resilience and mental toughness, and then the second I'm thrown inside of a solitary confinement cell, cower out. I'm not that person. There's some other people who talk about mental toughness and want to give advice, and when bad things happen to them, they end up addicted to prescription drugs. I'm not a coward.
Guy, bro.
But you cried.
I know, this guy.
There were tears that ran down my face, but I did not cry.
There were tears that ran down your face, but didn't cry.
When you found out what they were alleging,
that's crying blood.
Sexual assault, exploitation, and so on. What did you feel about that? What was your first reaction?
My first reaction was, the standard playbook. The standard playbook for anybody who speaks up against power is sexual exploitation. Isn't it the normal one they go to? Can't we name like 10 or 15 people right now they hit them with this exact same garbage?
I mean, to be clear, I don't know if you're guilty or not.
I do.
You're perfectly entitled to say that, and you know, right?
Of course I know.
But I don't know, and I will await any trial that comes.
Oh, is he still? The trial
still.
still.
What comes out of the trial and see what happens.
waiting
So I'm
to
not going
happen.
to prejudge the trial. I'm not going to judge you and say I think you're guilty. I don't know, right? We are where we are.
DJ
You've been
Birdman,
charged
thank you for the
with
tier 1.
serious
Appreciate the
crimes,
9 months, DJ.
And it's likely you'll face
Hope you're
a
good,
trial.
DJ.
And
Hope you're
we'll
good.
see
Thank
how
you
that
so much.
all plays out. Obviously, going back to jail, how are you treated by other people?
Everybody in jail was extremely apologetic to me.
Wow.
All of the staff, the police officers, everyone who worked in the jail, the person who
What
served me
the
my
hell?
meal, everybody was very sorry for what happened to me.
What?
They made it very clear they knew it was garbage, and they were apologetic. That was the only vibe I could give you. They were kind of like, listen, you got too big. I'm sorry. This is how things work. And sorry, here's your meal. Nobody had any real problem with me. None of the prisoners had a problem with me.
Did you get into any fights?
There was a couple scenarios where violence could have occurred, but I think once people realize that violence is a certainty and that you do not operate under a fearful realm, they often aren't so interested.
So people threatened you?
I wouldn't say they threatened me, but they would have liked to have got the opportunity to threaten me.
And what happened?
And they realized that would have been a bad decision.
One of the things I would think about, other than my family, immediate family, but one particular member of my family, if I found myself in jail, would be my mother and what she would be feeling and what she'd be thinking. She's been incredibly supportive to me. I know yours has to you. Did you think about your mother?
I was extremely concerned for her. I was concerned because the media establishment were hounding her. She was obviously very worried, but she knew she raised strong sons. But we're her number one protectors, and I was concerned for her. I wasn't concerned for myself in jail. I didn't even suffer in jail as much
Tate's
as
talking
I did
about
when I
his
got out.
experience
I
in
didn't
jail.
have nightmares in jail.
And he's
I had
basically
nightmares
just
once I
explaining
left
how
jail.
life was in
I was
jail.
in the middle of a battle. I don't think you get PTSD while you're fighting. You get it afterwards. I was in the middle of a battle trying to make sure that everybody I love and care about is taken care of and trying to make sure that bills are paid. Please understand, the day I was arrested, which is a year ago, every single bank account that I have was frozen. All of my assets were taken. I haven't had a dollar of money since January.
10 cars taken, I think.
15.
15 cars. And how many properties?
15 cars, 6 properties, 20 diamond watches, gold bars, cash, land, every single bank account, millions and millions and millions of dollars.
What was the total value of everything they seized?
16, 17 million.
Wow.
Yeah. And they took all of it. And I still don't have access to any of these things.
I mean, as we're doing this interview, you're expecting to hear sometime today as to whether you may get those possessions back. Is it all or nothing? Do you get it all back or nothing?
Correct. As we sit here, the judge is deciding whether I get all of my items returned or I get none of them returned.
Wow.
And truthfully, under the law, I should have never had them taken in the first place. So we're going to see what the judge decides. And I have to put my faith within the Romanian judicial system. I have no other choice. I'm not a coward. I'm not going to run.
When you were released from jail after about 3 months, what was that feeling like?
17 mil.
My brother and I were in the same cell at that time. We were extremely happy. I remember using the last of my mouthwash. During the day, I had some rituals to keep me sane, and I'd enjoy 1 swig of mouthwash a day. It's amazing how bored you get when you're staring at cockroaches, and even that sensation was
So there were literally
entertainment.
cockroaches in your cell?
Correct. There was an infestation. We did our best to kill as many as we could. It kept us entertained.
My
But
goodness.
they're annoying to sleep with. But mouthwash was something I enjoyed every day. The sensation of mouthwash made me happy, and I remember using all of my mouthwash. And then instantly my brain started turning to all of the things I need to do. I'm a man, I have responsibilities. For 93 days I wasn't working. I started concerning myself with, okay, I'm about to get out of jail, thank God. I'm gonna leave. Who do I need to take care of? What's paid? Do I have any money left? Are bills due? Is mom okay? Are my children okay? And I just started thinking about work. And as soon as I got out, I didn't sleep for 3 days.
You come out of prison, you've got no
man. Hey,
ability
this is
to
crazy.
access any of your assets. How have you
Man
been
was sleeping with
functioning
cockroaches.
financially
Shit.
since then?
Don't go to
I
prison,
believe in
man.
prayer, and I trust in God.
Well, prayer doesn't pay the bills.
God has been paying my bills so far, it seems. It's amazing how far faith can take you. It's often when you have absolutely
Now,
nothing
that was a
left, you turn to
clapback
faith.
as
But you should turn
of
to
hell.
faith first, and you should believe in God when things are good, and He will be there when times are bad.
Wow. Woo. What an interview so far. There's no way that's the interview done. Damn. Hey, they really had Tate locked up. They really had this guy locked up. They had this guy sleeping with cockroaches. This man was having luxury, and they took that all away from him. Now he has no cars, nothing. His Bugatti, nothing. Man's literally been humbled. It's crazy. But One thing about Tate is that he like sticks to his words. Like he always sticks to his words no matter what, which I find pretty interesting. The interview is
Initially,
about
you were put on this sort of
Andrew
rolling
Tate
30-day house arrest, and they kept renewing that
And his
month
arrest.
by month by month. And then in June, you and your brother and 2 others were formally charged with rape, trafficking, and forming an organised crime group
Oh
to
my
sexually
word.
exploit women. And there were 7 alleged victims named
Oh my
in
goodness.
the indictment. You said at the time, I look forward to being found innocent. You said earlier, who are these women? Well, there are 7 names.
No, the allegations against
Yeah,
him
have you
are
seen
crazy.
the videos of them on the internet saying we're not victims? They made us be victims. We told them
Well,
we
that
weren't
will all
victims.
presumably be analysed in a trial. Do you know when the trial may be?
I have no idea.
Wow.
It's, gonna
Do
be
you,
a
do you
long-
believe it will happen?
I'm not sure. It could get to a point where a judge, anytime before the trial, decides his case is garbage and throws it away. If you ask me what I believe happened, it's very simple. They threw me in a jail cell knowing they had no case, knowing they had no victims, but they thought if they plaster me all over the MSM
Jack, I
and
should
they say
turn
that
up
I'm
the
a
audio,
bad
I'll call
person
you.
and they call enough people, they will find the case they want. They couldn't find it.
The Romanian authorities' prosecution files accuse you of using verbal and physical abuse to keep women in line.
That should be good, chat.
50%,
How's that?
I believe, of the women's online income, although I believe that figure could vary, could be up to 80%. Is that right?
No, they accuse me of exploiting women who did TikTok. The same women who say we were not exploited, he just told us how to do TikTok. Also, in the prosecution file, if you want to talk about it, there's not a single bank transfer. There's not a single piece of evidence for any money. So I'm accused of making money from TikTok, but they haven't found any money. There's no money, and the victims are saying, I didn't exploit them to do TikTok. The whole thing is a joke. I was in jail because I spoke against power, because I told the truth about COVID, because I told the truth about the war in Ukraine, because I told the truth about all of these things.
I don't understand why people would want to put you in jail for giving your opinions about COVID or Ukraine. Why would they?
Why wouldn't they?
Well, why would they? Why would they
because
say that Andrew Tate's opinion is so important on Ukraine that we have to put him
Piers
in jail?
Morgan is
I don't-
trying to
I don't buy
humble him.
that.
Okay, because I was the
Piers
most
Morgan
Googled
trying to
man on the
humble him.
planet, and I had a huge affinity with the most troublesome demographic for the Matrix, which is the young masculine youth, the people who you need to die in wars, the people who you need to psyop into being slaves to build the roads while telling them that they're not allowed a point of view and they're not allowed an opinion on anything. And I was saying things which was going against the narrative. And the Matrix, the way it operates is it uses the MSM to purport lies, to inject slave programming into people's brains so that we live lives which are not good for us but are good for
bro,
them.
it's bugging
And I was
out.
sitting there
Bro, it's-
unplugging it.
What is the Matrix?
The Matrix are a bunch of people who can come up with studies from the sky to say anything they want them to say, so they can use the MSM to purport garbage inside of people's minds. So you end up locked in your house, clapping for the NHS like a performing seal, injecting yourself with experimental poison for the 9th time.
Bro,
It's a
it's
lie.
bugging
There was
out.
no reason to lock everyone in their house. More people died from missed cancer appointments than anyone ever died of COVID. People always got the sniffles before COVID, and they've always got it since. Let
wasn't
me ask you a question,
hang on,
sir.
it wasn't-
Where has COVID gone?
It wasn't-
Diseases don't go away.
It wasn't-
Where's COVID
It
gone?
wasn't. Well, the COVID strains have got milder, as indeed flu did. Flu used to
so
kill.
it's gone away now.
Well, flu pandemic in about 100 years ago killed 50 to 100 million people, and it's
Wow.
got steadily milder over the decades since. This is normal medical science pathway for most pandemics, right? So on that, I mean, your sort of cast iron, it was all Matrix MSM nonsense, is palpably untrue.
Well, I'll tell you why that's not true. Let me tell you
Piers
my
said the
personal
Matrix
experience.
is nonsense.
I'm an extremely logical person. At the beginning, when everyone was dying, dropping dead in the streets in China, which I never saw, by the way, funny, and the Italian hospitals were full, English hospitals were never full, funny. Me and my brother sat there and said, if this disease is so deadly and can damage us as strong military-age males, then the world is over. So there's no point in hiding in our house. We decided to go to Sweden. On day one of COVID, day one when everyone still believed, we went
Haley.
to Sweden. Why does no one talk about the fact that Sweden was open the entire time? Why does no one talk about the fact they didn't have masks or lockdown or vaccines? My brother and I partied in nightclubs 7 days a week for 3 entire months while everyone in England was locked in their house.
Sweden actually had a number of restrictions.
Not when I was there. It was open.
Not as draconian as we had in the UK, and there are certainly legitimate questions
Hey,
to
Piers
ask
got
about the
knowledge,
scale
you know.
of lockdowns.
He's
I think
got
people
he's got
panicked.
knowledge.
They saw what was happening in Italy, which had the second best medical healthcare system in the world, and people were dying in massive numbers, and the hospitals were overrun. So people may have panicked.
Did you hear about the guy who died in a motorcycle crash and it was a COVID death? Did you hear about that one?
Well, there was certain
Downing
people-
Street didn't seem very concerned with
There
COVID.
was, a
I thought
long,
they were
there was a
partying.
long debate about people
what?
dying of COVID or with COVID.
How does a
and all of that,
motorbike-
But the bottom line for me,
what the-
it is indisputable that COVID was a deadly pandemic that killed a lot of people. It turned out a lot of older people more than young people, but they didn't know that at the time, not for a long period. The vaccine saved millions of people's lives. There are legitimate questions about some of the boosters.
That one is a true story.
Side effects of the vaccines, as there are, by the way, with all vaccines. But the idea that COVID is some invention by the Matrix to suppress and control its people is for the birds, Andrew. It's for the birds.
It seems the birds and I are friends.
I don't think a smart guy like you actually believes that.
Of course, I
absolutely
one of my problems, believe that.
One of my problems I have with you is that I think you are intelligent, but I think you also adopt positions that you know are going to get the anti-Matrix mob inflamed. And it's just these all-encompassing views you have. COVID was a load of nonsense. Vaccines are all dangerous and killing more people.
Some people dying in Pakistan that had COVID, so they were.
COVID vaccine, well, you don't think they worked?
No, of course not, because the idea of
course
vaccine,
they worked.
The word vaccine.
I never got into that whole COVID stuff.
It saved millions of lives.
If you get a vaccine, you do not get the disease. They changed the definition of vaccine in the dictionary so they could continue to inject us with this pointless poison. I had the vaccine for polio. I've never had polio. You got the vaccine for COVID, and you're bragging online how you have COVID for the 8th time, but it's not that bad because you've had 6 injections. It's insane. And please understand my position. Please understand that I'm a person who doesn't believe any of these studies, don't believe any of this garbage, don't believe the Matrix. I'm a person who was in Sweden for 3 months as everyone was afraid, locked in their houses, partying at will. And it was perfectly fine. They had a lower death rate than the UK.
They had a much higher death rate than their neighbouring countries in Scandinavia. Did you know that?
They had a lower death rate than the UK.
Did you know that?
It doesn't, no, I didn't know that.
It doesn't matter to you.
Of course not.
So you wouldn't compare them to their immediate neighbours. You'd only compare them to a country in the UK.
If you think lockdowns worked, Piers, if you think lockdowns...
I think lockdowns were only acceptable as an immediate panic move, which it was, before there were vaccines. The moment they had a successful vaccine program that worked, then there was no justification for further lockdowns.
You're a very important person, and you're very well respected.
I'm not important, I'm a journalist.
No, you're very important, and you're very well respected in the UK, and you've been famous for a very long time. Were you invited to the party at Downing Street, or were you not in that circle?
No.
No? Oh, that's a shame.
And I thought the behavior...
Because they seemed very concerned about COVID on the TV, and by the way, they didn't seem to give a shit as soon as the TV was on.
I thought that was disgraceful, and I thought Boris Johnson and the people working at Number 10 who were having those parties...
I remember that one.
Friends of mine who were literally saying goodbye to their mothers on FaceTime on their phone because they weren't allowed in to see them. I knew people in care homes where it ripped through and killed a third of the people in the home in 2 weeks. And the desperation that people felt. I had a cousin who lost his father who couldn't go and see his dying wife and so on.
It's disgusting.
Why don't we just agree that they were a bunch of rank hypocrites, stupid people who were behaving utterly selfishly, to the extent that the Queen, when her husband, Prince Philip, dies, is in the church on her own in a mass with none of her family around her after losing a rock of 70 years. And it turned out the night before, Downing Street had, I think, 2 parties, including a karaoke party. I think that was shameful and disgraceful.
Well,
we can agree on that,
We can agree on that, and we can wake up and start to realize, maybe the government doesn't care about us. Maybe the government lies to us. Wow. Maybe they tell us things and try and scare us, but they don't actually care themselves. Maybe all they are is hypocritical, self-interested people.
Maybe they are. Let me ask you about the lover boy method. So the suggestion is that you and your brother and others, but let's talk about you, that you deploy the lover boy method, where you would make women fall in love with you, you would then persuade them to do webcam stuff, right?
TikTok.
Okay, but wait, let's call it webcam stuff, right?
No, let's not call it that. The indictment is about TikTok.
Okay, what would you make the women do? Or what would they do with you?
I don't make anybody do anything. Okay. In fact, let's talk about the Loverboy method. So it's very interesting. Let's imagine the Matrix is pissed off with a said individual who's telling too much truth and everybody is listening to him, and they decide they're going to attack him with sexual assault claims. They say, he's making women do, we found conversations where he gave advice on how to go viral on TikTok. He's making women do TikTok, but he isn't being horrible to them. He's not hitting them. He's not being mean to them. So what can we do? Let's use the Loverboy method. If I was abusive and mean, they wouldn't say Loverboy method. Do you know what Loverboy method means? Being nice. He was nice and polite and kind, and they really liked him as a person, and he told them how to do TikTok.
But that's not what the
He's a Loverboy.
Of course it is.
Andrew,
that's not what the Loverboy method is.
Absolutely
it is. The Loverboy method is where perpetrators woo victims with the prospect of a loving relationship until they can be forced into abusive situations or a form of slavery.
This is garbage.
That's actually what it means.
The lover boy method is being nice to people so that you work together effectively.
What the hell is this, chat?
I was nice to
What
girls
in the
who asked me for
Rasputin
TikTok
is this,
advice,
bruh?
and they sang it's the lover boy method. I didn't beat them into doing TikTok. I didn't force them. I didn't threaten them. In fact, I was like, yeah, you're very pretty. You can be pretty famous.
Was
You
there
can do
any
well.
element of coercion?
I remember
How
they
can there
taught
be
me
an
something about
What does that
Rasputin.
even mean? Let's be professional.
Who knows
here.
about
What does that
Rasputin,
even
What do you
chat?
think coercion means?
I was coerced into this interview.
I learned that in history.
You came along to me and said,
You weren't coerced into this interview.
Yes, I was.
Or don't tell me the bullying
Piers.
MSM said, Andrew, you've got to do an interview.
no, you
and
used,
I'm going to fly all the way to Romania to do it.
You didn't
me
do
a
that.
favour.
You used the lover boy method. You said, sir.
The lover boy method?
Yep. Andrew, this is going to be a very interesting interview. We had a good one
Rasputin.
last time.
Some
You're a
guy
nice
who,
guy.
like, every
we have some
girl used to
interesting
fall in love with.
conversations.
Say you were a
I'm
nice
going to
guy.
come along.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
We're going to make some money from this interview.
Wait a minute.
Money will be made for
Wait a
both
minute.
sides.
Wait a
you
minute.
lover boyed me
Wait
and you
a minute.
stole the profit.
But just to be clear, I've had no conversation
Yep,
with
that
you
was it,
about
Ace.
this interview. And the conversations I've
That
had
was
with
it.
your intermediary were very professional. And I said, I would like to do an interview
Were
with
you nice?
I wasn't nice to you, and I didn't call you a nice guy.
I feel lover boyed. I feel lover boyed.
Serious.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Nah, this guy, man. Nah, this Andrew Tate guy is, bro. This man, bro.
We're here.
I feel like
Thanks
they're
for joining
gonna be
us.
here going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know, they ain't gonna decide on nothing. Oh, they're just. I think at the end they're just gonna agree to disagree. Literally, chat. I think we're
You
halfway
had
through
a
this.
website,
right? Yeah.
Hustlers
It's an hour, I
University,
reckon.
offering courses teaching husbands and boyfriends how to get their partners
Absolutely
into webcam.
false. The Hustlers University, which you can go to now, actually, we've changed the domain, it's university.com, is a school which teaches modern wealth creation
University.com.
methods. We teach people how to make websites, we teach people e-com.
Why did you call it a PhD pimping hose degree?
No, you're talking about an old video which was made satirically.
Why did you call it that? Oh, that was satire.
Of course it was. 9 years ago, the internet was a very different place. And you're going to sit here and say, oh, 9 years ago, you said stupid things on the internet. It's not a gotcha moment because every single person has. So have you. Hustlers University teaches children
But you
how to
were-
make websites, and it teaches. And it's
There's only one reason
and
I'm
it's
asking.
fitness advice.
Only reason I'm asking you. You've repeatedly said in interviews since you were arrested that you have never categorized yourself as a pimp. You don't think you're a pimp, right?
Well, what about all the rappers? Did you ask
What
Ice
in the
Cube if he's a
50
pimp and
Cent?
a
Yeah,
murderer and a drug
I was
dealer?
just about to
Jay-Z
say
sold
that.
crack.
I'm not
We're sitting here talking.
I'm not
There's literally a
interviewing them.
song,
I'm asking you whether
PIMP.
you have at any stage in the
I
last 15
don't
years.
care what you
been
heard
a pimp.
about me.
Of course, I've not been a pimp. I've said I'm a pimp. I've said I'm an astronaut. I've said I'm a cowboy. I've said I'm the strongest man in the world. I've said I'm James Bond. Throw me in jail.
Are you just?
Put me in jail.
Okay.
I deserve it. 9 years ago, I made a joke on the internet.
So here's my question: Are you a fantasist?
I'm not a fantasist.
Or do you have a persona that's just not you?
Of course not. I am me.
Well, if you are you, why would you repeatedly call yourself a pimp and then now say you've never been a pimp?
I exaggerated
Basically
on the
saying, why
internet
you
9 years
capping?
ago for comedic effect. I'd walk into a nightclub and there'd be girls at my table, like every other man who walks into a nightclub, and I'd say, pimpin'. Oh no, put me in jail. 93 days was not enough with the cockroaches. I should go back. This is a matrix attack, Piers. Every single person, every single man out there has done things worse than I've done. In fact, I will argue, if you put 99.9% of men through the level of scrutiny I've been through by multiple federal agencies, you will find a lot worse than him saying he was a pimp on the internet 9 years ago. You will find actual genuine crime. And I've done nothing. I live true to God. This is all garbage and it's not real.
I want to be clear to you, I'm not preempting your guilt. I've come here with a completely open mind. You've been charged with serious offences, but I am not going to judge you because I'm not a judge and this is not a courtroom, right? But it's interesting to me that one of the biggest charges against you is that you're a misogynist. And you've always said, I'm not a misogynist. And then the last time I interviewed you, you said, well, I may have said some things that may have been misconstrued. But even in the last week, you've tweeted some stuff which I'm not even sure if you're aware as you tweet this stuff, how it sounds.
Read it.
Okay, let's read. This
What
is quite a
was he
long
tweeting?
one.
Sure.
What was he
But I
tweeting?
think it's important to read it to get a sense of how you view women.
Absolutely.
Any woman I date does not have a job. Okay, so the woman you're with doesn't have a job.
No.
Okay. Do you date other women?
Sometimes.
And your partner's fine with that?
Obviously.
Yeah?
What
And
the-
you're fine with that?
Why wouldn't I be?
Well, you think it's fine to be dating other women when you have a mother
I think
and a
we're
kid?
consenting adults and everybody can make their own personal
Okay,
decisions.
fair enough. Why would I be working so hard, you say, to have hundreds of millions for my woman to waste her life in slaved pennies? No, I will give you a life you can never ever afford. Private jets, 5-star hotels, new cars, endless spending money and diamonds. You will be rich because you're praying for me every day and protecting my spirit. I work in the physical world, she works in the spirit realm. Women shouldn't have to work because being a good partner is a full-time job for a woman. She has to look good. All the beauty treatments are time intensive. Not about money, it takes a lot of time. She has to train every day and stay in fantastic shape. Shop to look amazing next to me. I know there are some men who do 100 times more than this on a daily basis.
Andrew Tate,
women are not as organised as men. Achieving anything significant causes huge amounts of stress.
Is this guy okay?
They need to have huge sections of their day empty to waste, or they will have a mental breakdown.
True.
And do you want a woman who's stressed and angry after the commute, unshaven and exhausted? Or do you want a Barbie doll who's always smiling and saying thank you because she did her nails and bought you Prada that day? As a man, unless you're a loser, you're already filthy rich, right? You can get endless sex anyway. Girls are easy. So what can a girl give you? Happiness, vibes, always smiling. Take the edge off a stressful life. Can she always be happy if she's been working all day? No. Just to wake up at 11, gym till 1 appointment and some shopping. Dress beautiful by 7 p.m. for you to finish working and tell you how strong you are. No matter how pissed off you are, just to always be laughing and smiling and writing you little notes about how you're perfect.
You see this though,
and just to be playful and funny. She can't do that if she has a job. So your job is being my girlfriend, and now you're a millionaire. Congratulations. Behave and aim for the promotion to wife.
This part, he's literally objectifying women here.
I don't think you understand quite how that comes over, because I think that is the purest definition of misogyny I've probably ever read.
Well, I don't think you understand. One, especially when I'm talking about the fact that women can't handle what men can do, etc. One, it's slightly sarcastic. There's a sarcastic tone.
So do you mean any of this?
No, I mean it.
Well, which
but it's slightly sarcastic.
Sarcasm,
comedic effect.
Sarcasm means you don't mean it.
No, I mean it. But it's slightly sarcastic.
You either mean it or you don't. It's either sarcastic or it's not.
I think a man should provide for a woman financially, completely and utterly. If she wants to work, if my partner were to say to me right now, I really feel like getting a job, it would make me happy, then I'll say work. But she doesn't have to. Her job is looking after the children, looking after me, and being as happy as possible. If you think I'm a bad person for saying, if you actually read the subtext and context.
I read it all out.
Okay, good. Then you'll understand what I'm saying.
I think it's the way he's saying stuff.
Absolutely. So what I'm saying is, I'm a man, my life is stressful. My life is pain.
It's the way he says stuff.
I go to jail. I suffer. I have to deal with making money. I have constant, endless headaches.
That's the problem.
I do all of that.
That's
so
the
I can
problem.
give you
It's the way
everything,
he's
but then
saying
I get to
stuff. That's
have
the way
you.
it is.
Your job is to be happy. I want you to smile. I want you to look your best and feel your best all of the time.
I resonate with, but it's the way he's
I go through so much pain so that we can be
guys meant to be there to provide.
So I hope the woman I care about does not have to work a job.
Guys meant to be there to provide, but then it's all the extra shit that he just starts throwing into it.
I want to take care of her in every single realm. I take care of her physical safety. I take care of her financial security. That is my job as a man. And if more men acted like me, you will see that the world will be a happier and better place. The women who say, I really want to work, I want a career, that's their prerogative and their decision. They're allowed to do that. But also, often the reason they do that is because they can't find a man they trust to take care of them. No. I've had this from women in their own mouth. If I found a man who was financially secure and as smart as you, I wouldn't be doing this garbage job either. Why was I psyoped into working to pay taxes when I should be at home having children with a man I adore?
Andrew,
that's the old-fashioned. That's the old-fashioned way.
There are so many women that will listen to that and be laughing and mocking
the old-fashioned.
Don't be so ridiculous. I have a job that I love. Maybe they're being paid even more than their man, right? The real world isn't the one that you categorize.
The real world is varied and nuanced, but I am talking about my life experience. And in my experience, any woman I love does not have to work unless she decides to.
Fine. You're the boss. You're in charge. Her job is to make you happy. Her job is to make herself look good. Her job is to work out for your benefit. Blah, 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 blah. It is actually just misogyny.
Do you think a woman looking good... Do you think a woman looking good and working out has no benefit at all to her?
Of course it does.
Okay, so it's not for my benefit, then, is it?
But when you talk about young men and you tell them to work out and take care of themselves, I cheer you on. Right? I want that. I've got 3 sons. I want them to feel that. Well,
don't you want them to become very rich and successful and have a woman who relies on them and have a beautiful family?
No, but I don't want a woman who's subservient to them.
Why is subservience? Why is a woman
literally the tone of the tweet I read is subservience? You did another tweet this week. Men love by telling you what to do and not allowing you to make stupid decisions. We save you from the female inclination to make stupid choices. If a man isn't giving you instructions, he doesn't love you. If you won't listen to a man's instructions, you don't love him. The whole language is so ridiculous.
Let me change the language then.
Well, you tweeted this to 8.2 million people.
Correct. So let me say this. A father loves Let's say instead of a man loves, say a father loves. A father loves disciplinarian. That's how a father will love you. A mother will say, oh, I hope you're happy, hope you're doing okay. But a father will come along and say, no,
his parents
don't do
still
this.
alive?
You must do it that way. That's incorrect. It has to be this way. A father will discipline you because a father feels he knows best for you. It's the masculine essence of love. When a man loves, he cares.
There is
Andrew
a
Tate's
massive
dad?
difference between a relationship between a father and a child and between a man and a woman.
I want to know what his dad is like. Oh, his
Completely.
dad
I'm not
passed
sure
away.
you quite get
No,
that.
there is a difference. But I would argue, Piers, I would argue in the happiest relationships, it's a traditionally
His dad's passed away.
masculine role in which the man plays and provides. The female is traditionally feminine. The man is the head of the house, not in an abusive way, doesn't beat her up. I'm talking about the man being the head of the household, like I would like to believe you're the head of your household. And he comes along and says what happens and what doesn't happen.
Yeah, listen, it's all good macho stuff, okay? And I know lots of young boys who listen to this and go, wow, that's how I should be. Then I read the detail of your tweets. And again, come back to this. We save women from their female inclination to make stupid choices.
Females are emotional.
If a man isn't giving you instructions...
Now, females are emotional.
Hang on.
Piers,
He doesn't
females
love you.
are-
All this
females
stuff,
are
No, the way
all this stuff is
Andrew Tate is
designed
talking
to-
over him is
exactly
killing
as
me,
you just
though.
articulated, is designed
Only
to
said
make
let him
young
get a breath in.
men feel that the only way they can be successful in life is to effectively have their women under control, give them instructions that
By
they have,
buying them
that
Prada.
they have to obey.
Oh, don't
But
buy
let
women
me
Prada,
finish.
you'll end up in jail.
You can buy them Prada, but let me finish my point. My point is that it seems to me, from reading your tweets, even now, that you have a blind spot when it comes to how they sound.
I don't.
And it may be that the legal problems that you're in, which might be extremely serious, and we'll see when the trial happens, but it may be that in your head, nothing you've done is remotely inappropriate, because actually in your tweets you can see there's an element there of wanting coercion and control. You want to control women, you want them to be effectively your servants, slaves, for want of a better word.
Slaves who get Prada and get to work out in the gym and get to look good.
But you understand-
Nah, that's
While I
nah,
do
nah, nah,
actually
nah,
understand the
nah,
point I'm
Tate-
making.
Tate's
No,
bugging
I
out.
don't. Because
Which
I'll
is
tell
Tate
you
in
is
your
bugging
head,
out. Tate
the
is
line is
bugging
blurred
out,
so
bro.
much now with this macho rhetoric
Nah,
that
he's
you've
bugging out,
actually
bro.
lost track of how
He's
this sounds.
bugging out. He's
all of
bugging
the
out. He's
things
bugging out.
I-
Even when I
He's
read
bugging
that
out.
stuff to you, I could see you looking at me
He's
and you
bugging
said,
out, he's
your
bugging
answer
out,
is,
bugging out,
I was being
bugging out, bugging out.
sarcastic. And I said, well, where? And then you go, well, no, I meant it.
No, I can't
We
lie.
be
Piers
both.
has
I meant
schooled
it.
You either
himself.
mean
Sarcastic
it,
tone
you either
for comedic
mean it,
effect.
or it's, well, no,
Piers has schooled him.
sarcasm means you don't mean it.
Pierce, all the things you've just
Do
described.
you accept that?
No,
You're a
I
smart
meant-
guy. You know what sarcasm means, right?
Absolutely. I said it has a sarcastic tone for comedic effect.
Nah, he's bugging out, chat. Nah, chat, he's bugging out, man. Chat, he's bugging out, man. He's bugging
We're
out,
here.
bro. Chat, he's bugging out, man. He's bugging out. Holy smoke. What is this man saying, bro? What is this man saying, bro? Like, what the hell? What is this man saying, bro? Nah, man. I can't lie. Usually Piers Morgan is the guy who's like proper speaking over everyone, just being so annoying. But hey, I can't lie right now. Piers is he's being level-headed today, man. He's being level-headed. Do you know what it is? Piers came with the facts. Piers really came with the tweets, and I can't still believe that's one whole tweet, by the way. Like shit. X really updated their character. And I bet you right after this year, he's gonna be tweeting about this interview, bro. He's just gonna be he's probably sitting there right now with loaded tweets pre-written already.
Very good friend of mine. It's a very harmless picture. She's in a bikini on holiday under a rain shower, looking extraordinarily beautiful.
In a sexual pose.
And you tweeted, you are a wife and a mother and you're far past a teenager. There's no need for this post.
What the?
Again, it's just misogynist to say that.
It's not
Why
misogynistic.
can't a woman of her age, she just turned 50, why can't a woman of that age actually show off her beautiful body in a
Tate.
nice bikini?
No, he's
like
bugging
that?
out.
What's wrong with that?
You can call me crazy. You can call me
No,
misogynistic.
Tate is
but I
bugging
think
out.
once you reach the ripe age of 50, any woman should not be interested in thirst trapping on Instagram. I think she has bigger responsibilities. I'm sure she's a very intelligent lady. And she's
Let
done
her
amazing
do what
things.
she
She's famous.
wants.
She's obviously very capable, and I think she could do things more interesting.
Let
than
her
standing
do what
around
she
trying to
wants.
thirst
What the
trap on
hell?
Instagram like she's 18.
Because the
I
last-
think she's above it. I wasn't insulting her. I was reminding her that she's actually such a fantastic person. She's done such amazing things in her life, and she's so achieved that she's actually above thirst trapping. I was reminding her of her
Nah, I
worth
swear that he's
because
doing this on
as a
purpose.
feminist, we're
Nah,
all
he's doing this
feminists
on purpose.
here, right?
He's doing
We all
this on
believe in
purpose.
women
He's doing it on
empowerment.
purpose.
I'm reminding her of her worth.
Nah, man.
you a feminist?
This is a
Sure.
You're not, though, are you?
I believe in feminine empowerment, and I think
This is
feminine
a,
empowerment
this
is
is the
yes, I do.
persona he's
And
putting on,
feminine
man. I know this is not
empowerment is
him.
in modesty. Modesty is empowering for females.
I only believe in
Taking your
he's playing
clothes off for
RP.
men on Instagram
He's
is not
playing
empowering.
RP, I'm telling
It's
you. He's playing a
empowering when
whole
you say,
different
no
character.
man but my husband can see my body. That is female empowerment. And I was reminding
believe
her of
someone's
that.
like this,
I was
bro.
reminding her
I don't
of
believe
her
this.
ripe age and her intellect. And there is no need for that
How old
post.
are you now?
I am 36.
36 years old.
Correct.
At what point will your antics, chugging your cigars and your ripped body in your compound with your security and your Bugattis, at what age does that become a thirst trap?
I don't know if that ever stops being a thirst trap because
So it's fine for you, once again. One rule for the man,
And
another rule
Piers
for the
is
woman.
cooking.
it's interesting because
And
I've never
Piers
heard
is
this
cooking.
argument before, but I'm extremely intelligent and I've already deciphered how this is going to go from head to toe. It's called, I guess we can look at peacocks, right? The male peacock, he shows, look who I am, look what I can do, look at my achievement, look at my beautiful feathers. And I guess you could call it peacocking to a degree. I'm showing the world
you
that I'm
showing-
extremely
you showing your-
physical capable. I'm extremely
So what's the
physically
difference
capable.
between
Yes,
that
that's
and
correct.
Amanda
I'm
Holden?
extremely financially successful.
But you
Yes, that's
stripping
correct.
off for Instagram is fine.
It's not stripping off
But,
for Instagram.
you
I'm
do-
boxing. When you box, you have no
you
top
do-
on.
You do it all the time with your cigar and you're showing off your ripped body. That's fine for you. But if Amanda Holden dares do it, that is apparently thirst trapping.
I think me boxing with no shirt on is different than a 50-year-old woman
You
posting.
don't just box. I've seen you doing ones where you wander around all moody with your cigar and you're topless and stuff. So fine for you.
Are you a fan, Piers?
No, I
He's
just think
done
it's
his
thirst
research.
trap.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't do that.
perhaps it's successful. Maybe you should start. Perhaps it's successful because I do have a lot of female fans out there in the world, and they pretend I'm a misogynist, but it turns out that 85% of women on the planet seem to agree with me. Every single woman I've ever met in real life agrees with me. I have no female hate at all. I've never had negative interaction with women ever.
Yes, you have.
With who?
There are lots of women I know personally. There are lots of women who find you incredibly offensive.
I don't think so.
Right? It's their right to. It's your
Of
right
course-
to.
of course.
It's your right to not care.
Yep.
But the idea that somehow you're this beloved person for the world's females, I think is not true. You are for a certain type of woman who likes to be treated in the way
Dad,
that
do
you
you
like
think
to treat women.
Tate
let's
could ever
counter
get
that
married to a
argument,
woman?
right? Because the world, as I said,
Or
at
like
the
have a
beginning, is
girlfriend?
nuanced. Am I beloved by all females? No. But when I'm sat here with someone as prestiged as you, who says you're a misogynist and you hate women and women hate
I think
you.
you talk in a way that is misogynistic. Yeah.
Okay, well then you make it sound like all women hate me, and that's also not the case. Of course, it's a nuanced
I
argument.
didn't say all women hate you.
Some women agree with me. Some women don't agree with me. When I said that post about
He's got
Amanda Holden,
multiple
a lot
already.
of women
Damn.
said, Andrew, that's actually completely correct. She's extremely famous, and there's no need for her to be posting pictures like this at her ripe age. I was actually empowering her. I believe
Some
that
women
female
definitely
empowerment
like
is in
that.
modesty.
But you don't actually believe in feminism.
I believe in the idea of...
You believe in masculinity controlling women.
No.
They have to take instructions from you. They have to do what you tell them. And that is actually what love and relationships are about.
No, I believe that men
He's
and women
gonna
have
say
different
men-
roles.
he's gonna say-
I believe that we were created differently by God because we are the perfect team. I believe that a man who's in his masculine frame is best suited by a woman who's in her feminine frame. I believe when we work together, we can achieve amazing things, whether it's raising children or preserving society. And I believe a man has certain jobs and a woman has certain jobs. You don't understand this
Someone's
about the things I
beeping the
say.
horn.
When I said there that women make bad decisions in the tweet you referenced earlier, the point I was making is that women are more emotional than men. That is their superpower. That is fantastic. That is a great thing. I love female emotionality. In the tweet before you tried to use against me, I was talking about how I love a woman to be happy all the time, smiling all the time while I'm stressed. I love female emotionality. The reason women are better with children, the reason women are better with children is because they're emotional. That is their superpower.
That's not what
but
your, that's
in
not
a
what your
position,
tweet said.
in a position,
You're not even remembering what you wrote.
of course it is. I said women are more emotional than men is exactly what I said. I'm saying that is a fantastic thing, but there is no light without dark. So in certain situations, the emotionality is positive. In certain situations, the emotionality is negative. We can also argue the same for men because what happens
he
to me is
shouting?
everyone tries to gender my arguments. We can actually argue the same with men.
He's talking-
Stoicism.
he said
Male
women-
stoicism
women
is
are more
positive
emotional
in
than men, but
certain
right now he's
scenarios. It
showing
can be
them more
negative in
emotion.
others. We can come across as unempathetic or not
Yeah, I'm saying.
care because we're
Why is
stoic.
he shouting?
But in certain situations, it benefits
I know
us.
people who've told me that their
Nah,
kids
from the
are in
video
their
chat.
late teens, they're at schools where the name
horn is from the
Andrew
video.
Tate is banned. Nobody's allowed to mention your name because the teachers
Wow.
think that your brand of masculinity is so toxic. They are seeing a immediate effect on the way that young men behave, and not in a good way.
Is that what the teachers think, is it?
Yeah.
Well, I am actually genuinely concerned by the fact that I've been banned from schools when I do nothing but preach masculine strength and excellence. But then if you actually understand how the society is going and how the world works and all the insanity they're trying to push on all of us, I can understand why they've banned me because I speak the truth. If I was wearing a wig, Piers, and lipstick, and telling young boys to remove their genitals, would I have been banned from schools? No. They would have said, no, you can say his name, no problem. No matter how big I got, if I had a wig on and lipstick and I had been castrated medically, I would be allowed to talk to the young boys. But as soon as I say you're supposed to grow up and get big and strong, and if your wife doesn't want a job, you need to pay for her. It's your job as a man. You better find some money. Garbage.
On that last
They just
point,
cut out a lot.
you
They just
don't
cut out
say
so much
if
of
a
that.
woman
They just
doesn't
cut
wanna
out
work and
so
has to
much
take
of
care
that.
it.
Oh my
You
word.
say a woman shouldn't work.
I say my woman won't work.
Right.
I'm talking about my personal experience. I said any girlfriend of mine, because I'm in an extremely fortunate financial position. I was before Romania took everything, of course. I have hundreds of millions of dollars.
Buddy.
So because I am in my position,
Hey,
I
they
would not
took
want my
everything,
woman
man.
to work. I think there's more important things she can do
If you
than
have
earn money.
hundreds of millions of dollars,
They
where
took
you said you had a
everything.
worth of 17 million.
No,
Where's
I
the-
said they took 17 million.
17
where's the rest?
mil.
They must have taken it. I think they have it. Or maybe I lost it. I think I lost it somewhere.
You've never had hundreds of millions of dollars.
Of course not.
You haven't, have you?
Of course not.
You said they took all your assets.
Exactly.
Well, did they or didn't they?
Of course, they took everything.
I mean, they'll be watching this. Are they to assume that there are hundreds of millions more dollars they haven't got yet?
They're watching this.
Fine.
That's right. They take absolutely everything. You have it all.
But again, is that all just the smoke and mirrors? Is that all just the top G stuff that you play up to, which
This guy's
has no
tough. No,
bearing
this
on
guy
reality?
I was the most Googled man on the planet. I was the most relevant man amongst 18 to 35-year-old males, which are the highest earning and spending people on the planet. Do you really think that I can't pay my bills, Piers?
Right now, yeah. Someone's paying them for you.
Correct, you're right. Someone's paying them for me, you're right.
I'm just waiting
My
for the
girl's got
video where
jobs.
he
She works
comes
at
out
Starbucks.
chat and says, all right, this is all the folks.
Exclusive, Andrew Tate's girl, top G's girl works in Starbucks to pay the rent. I've been exposed.
See, again, I don't know what to believe when you say stuff like that.
Well, I'm telling you, my friend, that the Romanian state
I think you
taken
deployed deliberate smoke and mirrors because you think it plays up to the brand.
Romanian state have taken all of my money and I'm just, getting by. That's what's happened.
Do you worry about your impact on young men?
I think that
Because, like I said, I'll be completely honest. I think a lot of what you say, they should be hearing.
Yep.
And I've tangible proof every day when I walk around
Yep.
that they are listening to everything you say.
Yep.
But there is other stuff you say where I don't want my sons, especially in that impressionable late teenage, to
Correct.
be listening to that.
Correct, and that's a very...
And I don't want my daughter to grow up and think that actually her only success in life will come if she's at home as some kind of servant to her man.
Yeah, that.
Well, that won't be her only success, but that's a very professional question, and I'll give a very professional answer. I have a massive responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility, and I understand that young men do listen to everything I say. I do think I say good things, but you also made a very pertinent point there. You talked about the impressionable age of a teenager, and it's very easy for a teenager with their hormones and their lack of life experience to take the things I say and weaponize them
Bro,
and use
it's
them in the
waffling,
incorrect
man.
context. However, that is not my fault. You could argue that 16 to 17-year-olds can look at anything on the internet and misunderstand it. You could argue that all of this transgender garbage and all of these rappers talking about killing each other and all these drill artists talking about stabbing their enemies could be misunderstood by a 16-year-old.
I agree.
So
Oh, no,
that's
listen,
not
on
my
that-
fault. However,
on that I totally agree.
Okay, so I have a massive responsibility.
And you are held to a different account, actually, to a lot of those rappers.
Absolutely.
Right? There's no question. I mean, the far swing is when John Legend rewrote the lyrics to Baby It's Cold Outside because apparently encouraged sexual assault, but wouldn't say a negative word about any of the disgustingly misogynist and actually very violent lyrics of his rap friends. That to
Absolutely.
me is total hypocrisy.
And it is hypocritical. However, unlike all of these other people, I have taken into account my massive power and my massive responsibility, and I try to make sure that I use my words as carefully as possible so that they cannot be misconstrued or misunderstood.
Really?
Can I make sure that no teenager on the planet who listens to me ever misunderstands me ever? No, I can't do that, but I am doing my very best. What do I actually talk about? What do I actually say? What I do is I come along, and let me give you the broad overview of my message. You're a man, so your life sucks. It's always going to suck, and it's going to be pain. You're going to do nothing but suffer. You're going to suffer as a nobody, or you're going to suffer the pain it takes to become
Actually,
great.
most men don't have that.
But you're going to suffer as a nobody, because trust me, nobody suffer. Or you're going to suffer the pain it takes to become great. Life is not supposed to be a happy
I'm a
picnic.
nobody.
You're
I don't
supposed to get
suffer.
up, work hard, dedicate
The fuck?
yourself, get strong, get rich, go through whatever it takes to become somebody of significance. That's my overall
You
message,
don't have to
and
get-
I believe
you don't
it's a
have to-
positive.
You haven't got to get rich to be happy.
No.
In fact, most of the super rich people I know in life are incredibly unhappy.
Really?
So you're selling a kind of false dream.
Well, I don't
A
never
lot of
seen-
rich
Hey, I
people
can't lie,
are
he's selling
miserable.
a
Have you ever seen a
dream,
rich
boy.
person give
And a
their
lot of
money
people
away?
who have very little money can be very happy.
Hey, he's
Have you ever
selling
seen
a
a rich
dream,
person
man.
give their money away?
Yes, of course.
Okay, do you give all your money away? Will that make you happier, Piers?
I don't.
Do you want the Romanian state to take it all? I didn't smile that day. And let me tell you that the reason I tell about men to become financially successful is for two reasons. One, because you have a job as a man to protect and provide, and you can do neither of those things if you are broke. That's the first reason. And the second reason I actually preach to young men to become as financially successful as possible is a greater, broader reason. And I believe we've entered a very interesting stage in humanity where the matrix is finally cracked. 3 or 4 years ago, there were certain narratives you could not talk against. But with Elon Musk owning X, and now we have Rumble, we have a lot more information on the internet, people are starting to tell the truth about many different subjects. There's a whole bunch of them we can name. And I like the idea of people who are free thinking with a free mind, who are not matrix controlled, making as much money as possible because it takes money to win wars, and I want these people to be financially successful. That's why I tell all of my fans who believe in me to become as rich as possible, because they understand that everything the government does is light.
About money, bro.
Finance.
You use the word truth there. I don't think it's necessarily that people want to.
It's not always
truth.
about
they want to promote their
money, bro. Why is there so much focus on money, blood?
Can be very different. People can take the same set of facts to different opinions. Doesn't mean it's the truth, right?
Well, that's true, but
I don't believe in this my truth crap, right?
Neither do I. But
there are facts which have to be accepted. Then you can have an opinion about them.
Well, I know some really rich people.
But actually
very
not
rich people.
Okay, but I can argue this point.
Not
where
as
the Matrix
happy.
comes out with a fact, and all the opinions countering that fact are censored and they are destroyed, then that fact becomes de facto truth
about money,
because it's the only version of reality which exists to be ingested by the mind. So you still need varying opinions on all public.
Do you think that what you let's put it this way?
Sure.
You would have relationships with women and encourage them to take part in webcam sexual stuff?
No.
Well, actually, yes.
Why are we going back to this?
Because there's one question I want to ask you, right?
The be all and end all, like
both sides made a lot of money.
Chasing luxury,
right?
rich.
You've been making money
For me, bro, if I'm comfortable and I got bread to pay bills,
do you feel it was moral?
Do I think it's moral?
Because you speak in such a morally self-righteous way
like,
now.
Not needed,
do you think that was moral?
Well, I wasn't.
It's not the be all and end all.
But let me sit and analyze.
I
feel like with him, it's like go, get, and when you get, even get more, and when you get even more, get even more, and when you get even more, get even more.
I have to answer as a professional.
Bro, like it's not that deep, bro.
Judging by my current code, no, I do not think that women being naked on the internet is moral. However, there is.
So you made money immorally. You can admit that.
It's nuanced like all things, Piers. At the time I was atheistic. I know that some of my girls talked men away from suicide. A lot of men are ridiculously lonely. I would also say a lot of the lessons I know about men and how they think and how lonely and sad they can be and how difficult life is as a man actually came from that era, because I saw a lot of very successful men with a wife and with kids and with money pouring their heart out to some 20-year-old they never met about how sad they were. I learned a lot about the world, and I know that a lot of suicide was prevented, and I met a lot of women millionaires. But would I do it now? No. However, I'm in a very different situation now. I'm a different person. I'm religious. I'm also extremely financially successful. Please understand, Piers, I come from Marsh Farm, Luton. I came from one of the worst areas inside of the UK. I could have stabbed someone. All of my friends were breaking into cars, breaking into houses. Most of my friends were in jail. What did I do? I promoted accounts on the internet.
Didn't
sell crack. Didn't sell drugs, didn't rob anyone, didn't shoot anyone, and now, because I am successful, I'm going to be held to this moral standard by people who grew up in fancy homes with white picket fences and went to private schools.
Well, no, actually,
I am from Marsh Farm, Luton, and the biggest crime I committed was completely legally promoting internet profiles.
Tomorrow night on Uncensored.
Marsh Farm, Luton. Where the hell is that? Where's Marsh Farm, Luton?
Disgusting, and it doesn't matter which side of the political spectrum you fall on.
Do you believe Hamas are a terror organization?
And that's a very interesting question, but I think you're peddling asinine.
Where's Marsh Farm, Luton?
Why are you being flippant?
I'm not being flippant. The point I am making.
I don't find that funny. Nothing justifies what happened on October the 7th.
So what are they supposed to do? I'm mad. I'm emotional now. Let's go kill everyone.
Yo!
I think that was one of the best interviews ever conducted with Andrew. I don't know how hard you're going to go on me.
Oh, it's finished. No, I can't lie, man. I was waffling, man. I don't think he believes some of the shit he says, genuinely. I feel like he's just saying it to spiral a reaction from people. But the guy is saying some fucked up shit, bro. Like, what the hell? Bro's banned from like every single platform you can think of.
Love's great when we make up, and your friends trying to break us. No, I don't do breaks, no. I love you right, I will. I love you right, I will. I love you like